overview of what the Forge is, all the different ways to get involved, and then also how you can get more involved with sustainability, but also sustainable food systems specifically. So the Forge Garden is part of the Center for Sustainability at SCU. And the Center for Sustainability, the mission is to advance academic and public understanding of the ways in which social justice and sustainability intersect by integrating principles of social, environmental, and economic stability into campus operations, academic and student life, and outreach programs, which is a very long sentence. And we, hold on, if I can get this to be, there we go. And we help the university achieve climate neutrality. We have an energy manager in our department who works a lot with the kind of emissions and climate footprint on campus. We try and practice mindful consumption, develop and strengthen a culture of sustainability, and use the campus as a living lab for global solutions. So those last two really tie into what the Forge does. We do a lot of work to help create more of a culture of sustainability around food, but also around just lifestyle choices. And also it's a really great place for using a space on campus as a living laboratory, and I'll talk a little bit about how classes engage with the Forge. Whoop. Oh no, there we go. There we go. So a little bit about the Forge. So the Forge is a half-acre certified organic garden. It's been around since 2009, and we have 30 fruit trees in our orchard. We have 49 raised growing beds that we grow food in. We also have chickens and bees. We have, I think, 10 beehives that I am not the beekeeper for those hives, but the previous garden manager, her and her husband have a beekeeping business, and they tend to the bees, and then we buy honey from them and sell it at our farm stand, which is really awesome. They do all of our pollinating, which is great. So the Forge, it serves as a living laboratory for all academic departments across the university. So any professor can request to have their class in the Forge, and that could mean they use it as just a space to hold class, or they can engage with the space in a lot of different ways. I give a lot of classes tours. We have a lot of classes that maybe art classes that come and draw here, or take pictures. We have photography classes that come in, videography classes that come in. We have had a lot of biology classes come in here, either like looking for insects, collecting insects, or talking about compost, doing soil samples, things like that. So there's a lot of different ways that classes can use this space for either research, but also just for like a calming environment. Another thing I want to say is the Forge is open to all, well, to the public. Actually, the gate is open like during the daylight hours, so anyone is welcome to just come in here and be in the space, eat lunch, do homework. We have internet out here, and it's great. We also try and create an engaging space that showcases innovative small-scale agriculture and sustainability by growing and donating food. So we are certified organic through CCOF, which is one of the agencies that does organic certification in California. And we do our best to also practice a lot of sustainable agriculture practices, or regenerative agriculture practices, so that we can showcase those on a small scale. We do a lot of composting and cover cropping and rotational crop rotations in our beds as well. All the food that we grow, we sell at our donation-based farm stand, which is in the garden every Friday. And then we also donate to the food pantry on campus called Bronco Pantry. And so that's kind of the two main outlets for the food we grow. It also can go home with volunteers. Sometimes we provide produce for events that are being held in the garden, things like that. We do our best to educate students, staff, faculty, and community on sustainable agriculture and food systems. That can be just from coming here and talking to us. We also do workshops throughout the year that kind of revolve around agriculture, gardening, different kind of like sustainable practices that revolve around food. And we also engage the community to help create a more just and sustainable food system. So ways that students can get involved, there's so many different ways. I mean, even just coming into the space, you are engaging with the space, and we love that. One of the main kind of like the biggest way that you can engage in the garden would be being a student employee in the garden. So we have school year apprentices. We have 4 throughout the school year, and they work about 12 hours a week throughout the school year. And then that carries over year to year. So we have some apprentices that started their sophomore year and they're going to be seniors this year. And we also have a summer garden internship, which is happening right now. I have 13 interns this summer, which is the most we've ever had. But we are finding more and more interest in this space, which is awesome. So I'm kind of building that program out from there. And they come, I think, about 12 hours a week also during kind of a good chunk of the summer. We have a program that we started this last quarter called Nourish Nights. And Nourish Nights is an event that was thought up and put together by the apprentices that we have in the garden to address food insecurity on campus, and also to really focus on wellness, kind of physical and mental wellness, and create a safe space for students to come and eat together. So we have students that volunteer to help cook a plant-based meal, and then we serve it to whoever shows up. We did a lot of kind of veggie-based soups or pastas, gluten-free pastas, last quarter, but there's so many opportunities for students to kind of get creative and cook whatever they want. And I'm there to support and also help harvest whatever we can from our space to contribute into that meal. And it's been a really cool program, and we're doing our best to figure out how to continue it and access as many students as possible. Another way is coming to the farm stand, which is every Friday from 11:30 to 1:30. And a majority of the produce that we grow here will be at the farm stand, and it's donation based. So no one will be turned away for lack of funds. We have like some suggested donations based on like the weight of what you're getting, but also, we really just want the food we're growing here to go and get eaten by our community, whether that's SEU students or people in the neighborhood. We have a lot of regulars that come from the neighborhood and really love this place and support us by coming to the farm stand every week. We have volunteer work days. It's usually 2 or 3 days every week during the school year. It changes per quarter depending on the schedules of our apprentices, because they're usually the ones leading those work days. But consistently, we have Friday morning volunteering, which is students coming and helping harvest for the farm stand, which is really cool. Sometimes we'll get 20 students out here and they learn and are a part of harvesting for the farm stand and setting it up. And then the volunteer work days throughout the rest of the week are usually kind of whatever needs to be done. Sometimes it's more harvesting, sometimes it's weeding, sometimes it's planting, seeding. There are so many, like whatever needs to be done, the volunteers are helping out with that. We also hold events in the garden. Sometimes we are hosting the events. We might have an event that we want to engage people in. It could be a workshop, it could be an informational session, it could be a documentary showing that we're hosting, but we also allow any student group or faculty to use the Forge as an event space. So this picture here is for an event called, I think this was Spring Sessions, which was the SEU's radio station. They put on this amazing outdoor concert in the garden, and you can see there were almost like 200 people there. And it was incredible. And we're definitely going to do it, I think, hopefully twice a year. And also we had a similar outdoor music event called Coffee House that's one of the English department groups put on. And that's something that just gets coordinated through me, and any club or student group that wants to do an event out here, like I work with them to make it happen, which is really awesome. Sorry, there's a lot of things. There's a lot of ways to get involved in the garden. Another one is Glean Team, which is not an official club. It's more just like a group and a way to engage in the garden. And every Friday during that harvest time, a Glean Team will go out with fruit pickers that we have in the garden and harvest fruit from the trees around campus. There are a lot of fruit trees that, you know, the fruit just falls and gets wasted. And so we want to kind of funnel that fruit, do that little extra work and make that connection so that the food that's being grown around campus actually goes to people's kitchens. So right now we're harvesting oranges and peaches from campus, which is really exciting. And a lot of people, I'd say Glean Team is, the people who do it get really jazzed about it, and it's really fun. And it changes throughout the year, you know, what is ready to harvest around campus. And we're sometimes discovering new trees that we can harvest from, and then we get permission from facilities, and then we're able to harvest the food from those trees, which is really cool. So these are kind of some of the clubs that we have on campus that you can join to engage with the garden, but also engage in sustainable food systems, or just the outdoor spaces and connections on campus. So the Forge Garden Club was started in 2017 and has gone through some changes during COVID because as you can imagine, a lot of things changed. So right now I am working with some of the people who are leading that club to figure out what it's going to look like moving forward. We plan to get that fully up and running by winter quarter. And likely the Forge Garden Club is going to be doing a lot of work with like Glean Team and Nourish Nights and creating the events that we have in the garden to help engage more people in this space. So definitely look forward to that. There's a club on campus called Into the Wild, which is a great way to go on nature-centered trips and adventure trips through the university. We have the Green Club, which I do not know as much about because I haven't worked with them yet, but they're kind of the OG sustainability-minded club on campus, and they focus on grassroots environmental efforts. And then there's Food Recovery Network, which is, we have kind of a chapter, I guess you could say. It's a national organization, and it's diverting food waste from going in the trash to going to soup kitchens or places where they give out food. So it's one of the largest student-led movements fighting food waste in America, which is really cool. And we work with our dining hall and some local businesses and do pickups and drop-offs twice a week. There's a food pantry, soup kitchen not too far away that we work with. And I'm the advisor for that group. So if you have any questions, you can ask me. There we go. So academically, if you want to get more engaged with sustainability as far as like food systems, so there is a minor and a pathway for sustainability, but more specifically, we also have a sustainable food systems minor that is really new, but really interesting. And you take classes that kind of create so many connections between the food system and equity, social justice, all those things. And also that minor was created by a group we have on campus called the CFIE, Center for Food Innovation and Entrepreneurship. There it is. And they've created this minor in the last couple of years, and it's really cool. So if you're interested in sustainable food systems, I would definitely check that out as you're coming into your freshman year. That is it for me, but I am happy to answer any questions.
Awesome, thank you. I think we'll do our little part of the presentation and then possibly do questions at the end, just because I feel like more questions might arise with more information. But that was awesome. I have a bunch of friends doing, or not a bunch of friends, a couple friends doing the intern program this summer, and my cousin did it last summer. So yeah,
Very cool.
yeah.
Oh, I need to stop sharing my screen, huh? I'm sorry. There you go.
Thank you. All right. Give me just one quick second. So now we are going to go ahead. I think it's going to take a second to load, but we're going to go ahead and talk about other ways that you can get involved with things sustainability and environmentally related on campus. So let's see. Slides are a little bit frozen. Give me one second. Can you all see? There we go. Went forward too many though. Can you all see my screen? Okay. Okay. So, sorry, my computer is really slow today. Nope. So sorry. Just give me 1 minute. There we go. So the first way to get involved would be through grassroots environmental efforts now. And I think Becca talked about this one a little bit, but it's a registered student organization that meets about 1 time a week, and the membership is free. It's also known as Green Team. And the goal of this club is just to have their members live more environmentally conscious lives and just take steps and make steps toward a greener world. And to get in contact with this club, their Instagram is SCU Green Club, and their contact would be srooney@scu.edu.
And then next, we also have the Santa Clara Sunrise Club. This is part of the National Sunrise Movement Organization, and their goal is also about raising awareness about climate change and also just advocating for different environmental justice related political policies. So if you're passionate about sustainability, but also if you're interested in politics, this is a good way to sort of merge those two and sort of embrace activism on campus. And their Instagram is at Santa Clara Sunrise, and their contact is pgwen@scu.edu.
And then Becca talked about this one, the Food Recovery Network, but just a little bit of additional information. It's a registered student organization that meets 1 time a week, and like the other ones, it's free, and they work to combat SCU's food waste, just from like Benson and other places around school where a lot of food waste can be generated. And to get in contact, the Instagram is SCU Food Recovery Network. And then I guess you could contact Becca, or you could contact Kate Dunnigan at scu.edu.
And then Becca definitely also talked about this one, the Center for Sustainability. But again, their mission is just to empower SCU students, faculty, staff, and other community members to build a more humane, just, and environmentally conscious world. And they host a lot of events and implement different programs and initiatives for people to get involved with sustainability on campus.
Yeah, and the Center for Sustainability offers a whole bunch of programs that we're going to talk about. So the first one is the Liaison Network, and it's comprised of 2 student groups and 2 faculty and staff groups. So you all could get involved in the student groups. There's the Residence Life one, and then the Seeds one. And the Residence Life student group creates campus-wide sustainability-themed programs and projects. And then the Seeds group aims to promote the sustainability strategic plan widely at SCU. So I think the Residence Life one is kind of more action, hands-on oriented, and then the Seeds one is kind of more, you know, like working on policies and things like that.
And then if you're not able to really get involved with like student organizations, they also have personal compost pails where the university will give out compost pails for students to like take home, and they're also free, so you don't have to like pay or like do any sort of like extra step with that. But yeah, you get these free compost pails, and they allow you to compost from the comfort of your home or your residence hall, wherever you are. So it's just an easy way to, you know, be more sustainable and environmentally conscious.
And then next is the Student Advisory Board, and this is a board that's comprised of 1 member from each sustainability or environmentally related club. And these members come together and collaborate to create an events and initiatives once per quarter. And I feel like this is really nice because it involves like the ideas from every single club and is not kind of just focused on one specific goal or initiative. And I would say this board is most likely for upper class students that know the club that they're in pretty well, but there is definitely no harm in trying to be on the board as a first year if you're involved in any of the environmental or sustainability related clubs.
And then we also have these things called sustainability guides, where you would go through a training and certification process where you just learn about how to be like sustainable, and it gives you these little action items to do throughout the quarter. And there are a variety of different actions you can do, but some examples would include fostering discussions around the environment with faculty, staff, or other community members, or going to environmentally justice related events. So like the ones that Becca had mentioned with like Forage Garden and like Nourish Nights and the concerts and whatnot. And also just like contributing to programs that promote sustainability on campus. And you can see a picture of one of the trainings that took place.
Okay, and now we have the tree trackers. This is another program that I feel like sounds super fun to get involved in because it's so hands-on. But students gather data about the health and growth of trees on campus. And the goal of this program is to appreciate and protect the university's urban forests because there are so many trees around campus. And I feel like in order to keep them healthy and good, it's really good to like check up on them. And a bonus of being a tree tracker is that you get to use cool tools such as vertex lasers and diameter measuring tapes when you're tracking the trees.
And of course, if you ever want to find out any more information or get further contacts, you can visit the Center for Sustainability website, and they have all the information there. And then, of course, for any of the organizations that we mentioned, there's the involvement fair during the first week of school. So everyone can go and sign up for the different organizations there and just further get involved in sustainability here at SCU.
Yeah, and now we've got a little bit of time for questions or discussion. I feel like it's great that we have Becca here because she definitely knows a lot. So if you have questions, we would love to get them answered or point you in the right direction towards getting answers. And you can put them in the chat. You could private message them to Chiso, me, Becca, or Catherine. Or you can unmute, say them out loud, totally up to you.
And yeah, we're a pretty small group, so y'all can just talk about anything, to be honest, and we'd love to listen. Yeah.
So I have a bit of a question. So I love gardening and like the horticulture aspect of things. So like actually planting and maintaining plants. So which of these kind of opportunities would be best for me if I wanted to get involved with actually maintaining the gardens?
That's a great question. I would say that starting with coming to the volunteer work days and then potentially applying to like work here. It sounds like if that's something you really love, like you can get paid to do it here. And we love being able to like help foster people's passions. And we have all 4 of our apprentices right now are seniors. So they will all be coming back on this year, but in the winter, I'll be hiring 2 new apprentices to go into the next school year.
Good to know. Thank you.
Sorry, I didn't mean to switch the slide. Any other questions, or we could just talk?
Someone asked in the chat, what kind of plants are grown in the forage? It's a great question. So we have 30 different fruit trees that kind of are ready to harvest at different times of year. We do a lot of vegetables. I can tell you what, like we have like right now, we have a ton of basil and summer squash, eggplant, onions, cucumbers. We do flowers too. So we sell little flower arrangements at the farm stand. We also have some like perennial fruits, like we have grapes growing. I think we have another, I'm trying to think, another vine that we're harvesting from right now, but now I'm blanking on it. Oh, we have an elderberry tree. There's a lot of fun stuff out here. And I think it's also very open to, if there are students who really want to see certain foods grown here, like we are always open to expand what we grow here to be what students want to eat. I mean, we do our best to kind of have a good variety for folks to choose from, but we're always open to new things.
How big is the Forge Garden?
It is a half acre, but that includes, it's not a half acre of growing space because we have a little solar house in the garden that was part of this solar decathlon competition that engineering students did back in 2007. So that takes up a little bit of the garden. We've got a greenhouse and the chicken coop. But we have, 49 kind of like different sized raised beds that we grow in. Yes, to the tabling fair question. I will be there, as well as Food Recovery Network will be there, Into the Wild. I think all the clubs we just talked about. Also, the Center for Sustainability in general always has a table at those involvement fairs. And there's a ton of different ways to get engaged with them. Also, the Center for Sustainability also hires students every year. There's a lot of different kind of forms that can take based on what the Center for Sustainability needs and also what people's interests are. And I know that they are hiring, they got a grant, I think, to hire 2 more that are going to be doing kind of food waste research. So that's something you can ask about at the involvement fair as well.
Catherine, you're muted. Catherine, I think you're muted.
Sorry, I realized that. I had a question that William asked it, but I was just going to direct it to you, but he just typed it in the chat. It was where does the garden source its seeds and starter plants?
Yeah, so that's a good question. So we first got our organic certified in 2018. And so following kind of the restrictions and regulations of being organic certified means we do buy our seeds from certified organic seed providers, but we also have the opportunity to save our own seed. And sometimes we do have people donate seeds, and it's just more of a process going through that. But yeah, we usually get them from, if you're really curious, Seed Savers Exchange, as well as Johnny's Seeds, the organics.
And then just going back really quickly, I know there was a question, I think, about tabling at the involvement fair. And just for you all, if you didn't know, tabling is when the clubs kind of set up tables outside of Benson, which is the dining hall. There's a big lawn. And it's during usually the first week or 2 of the quarter. And you can just go around to the different like tables and learn about the clubs and kind of sign up. Like you can get information, they can get your information. And it's super fun. It's a great way to like learn about the clubs instead of just looking like online, because I feel like face-to-face contact is a lot better just for learning about the clubs.
Yeah, I'd say also any of the Instagrams, if you don't have social media, then maybe the websites, but if you do, the clubs are really good at maintaining the Instagrams and letting you know about any opportunities, events, things like that. I use it for the Forge Garden as well as a mailing list, just to reach the most number of people.
Just out of curiosity, have any of you all started looking at clubs? Or are you interested? Like, have you thought about joining any clubs yet at Santa Clara? It's okay if not. My parents made me like look up some clubs to get interested in and like make a list before school. But I feel like it's fun to kind of go around to the tables and see. Annie will have a presentation, I think next week, sometime next week, about Into the Wild with some people that work at Into the Wild. So
Okay, great. Yeah, I'd love to go to that.
Yeah, we also, one of our apprentices right now in the garden and is here for the summer. She is one of the like excursion leaders for Into the Wild. Yeah, so you can be part of both. Someone asked, what's been the most rewarding part for me of working in the forge? That's a really good question. I love, this is what I love to do. And this is like kind of the dream job for me. Being able to do it in an educational space is amazing. But I think just having a space where students and people who are interested can come and help contribute and grow the food that they can then take home and eat is just so rewarding. And knowing where it's from and the work and care that went into it is amazing.
Do you have any other questions? I feel like it would be super awesome to get to go to the like farm stand at the forge and get some food and bring it back to the residence halls and like have it stocked up for throughout the week. It would be nice, just like some fruits and vegetables.
Yeah, I was talking to some of the RDs about, I had no idea that some of the residence halls have these kind of small garden beds near or around some of them that are just like not maintained, and like how I can provide the, the start baby plants for that. And if folks want to take ownership of that in their residence hall, there's definitely opportunity for that.
Mm-hmm. I feel like the weather here is great for growing like plants. I just moved into my off-campus house and we have a grapefruit tree and a lemon tree and an orange tree. And it's like awesome having all of that food right outside my door. Like, and it's always just growing new food, which is cool.
Yeah, we actually had a community member who I think she's lived in this neighborhood for a really long time. She said she remembers when this garden started, so a long time. And she was like, I have this apricot tree and I have so many apricots, because she had come to the farm stand. She was like, can I bring you some apricots? It's like, absolutely. And then me and all the interns got to eat these apricots from down the street. It was really magical.
That's awesome. I think, let's see. Taylor asked where the forage garden is.
Great question. It is one block pretty much from main campus. So it's like a block from the law school and the business building on Benton and Sherman.
Do you know if it shows up on like maps?
Yes, if you just Google Maps the forge, it will come up.
Okay, I think we're going to go ahead and do our closing slides, but if any of you all think of any other questions, we can obviously stick around and answer them. But just to connect with us, we have our 2 orientation related Instagrams, our TikTok, where I believe they post Monday through Friday. So quite a lot of funny posts. And then the YouTube, Catherine just actually posted a YouTube video, so you could go check that out. And I've also got some YouTube videos coming up. And then the Discord. I don't really understand Discord because I've never used it until now, but definitely a lot of people are messaging in it. It's almost hard to keep up with, but it's funny. And then for what's up next, if you'd like to see Chiso and I again today, we've got an information session about the College of Arts and Sciences, and then the writing night tonight, and then staying active at SCU tomorrow, which I will also be at. So, and then tons and tons of more fun events on Bronco Exchange, where we would love to see you all if you're interested. And if you have any requests for events, we would love to take them, because we would like to do what you all want to hear. But yeah, I'm going to hop off of screen share. And if you all have any more questions, we can stick around and answer them. Otherwise, I'm sure